Colorado Avalanche have won 4 straight. They're one of the hottest teams in the league right now. Chris Micieli of Locked On Avalanche joins us to talk about what's making them so successful.
You're Locked On NHL, your daily podcast on the National Hockey League. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
My pleasure right now to welcome a familiar face to those of you who watch this podcast or listen to this podcast daily, Chris Micieli of Locked On Avalanche. Chris, thanks for coming on the Monday show today.
Anytime. I think this is the first time I've been on the Monday show, so I love what you've done with the place. It's wonderful. Yeah, it's good.
Well, you know, it's good to talk to somebody whose team is actually winning hockey games these days, as my Islanders have now lost 6 in a row. But I got to tell you, your Avalanche, 4 straight wins, and most of them by pretty hefty margins. What has been the difference over the last 4 games for this hockey team?
They're part of it. They're playing bottom of the barrel teams. I don't want to, but they are beating them convincingly. They're not 2-1 games that they're just eking out or going to overtime or anything like that. They're putting up a lot of points and they're not giving up a lot. They've scored 7 twice. Once against Vancouver, just the other night against Seattle. But they played Seattle, Vancouver twice, San Jose, who's starting to struggle a little bit, but on top of it, they are playing better. It is nice to see because they were struggling too. They would win one, then lose a couple, then win another one, and they were just going up and down and up and down. And you knew that they would break out of it at some point. And they're doing this without Nathan MacKinnon. So he's still going to be out. They're hoping he comes back at the beginning of December. They have a 5-game road trip to start December, and they're hoping he's back for that. So he's missed a lot of time, and they're used to this. They're used to a lot of injuries and, keeping the style of play that they have. And I know a lot of people might not want to hear this. Nazem Kadri he's been amazing. He's leading the team in scoring. I think he has an 8-game point streak going on right now. Yeah. And it's so under the radar when you guys have when guys like Connor McDavid are doing what they're doing up north. So it's kind of like going a little bit unseen, which he doesn't care. But yeah, he's kind of, I don't want to say like leading this team, but he's definitely one of the leaders right now. So he's on fire.
And another thing that seems to be doing very well, and Kadri is a big part of this, the power play connecting pretty often right now.
It was horrid to start the season. Horrible. For a long period, they were like 28th, 29th. And they're starting to move up a little bit. And again, playing someone like Vancouver, who has a terrible penalty kill, that helps. Playing Seattle, who has a pretty bad penalty, but that can get you going. You can't apologize for that. Sometimes when you play those teams, like that's what you need. It's almost like a batter in baseball, and they just like lay a bunt down just to get out of a funk, and that just gets them going. I think that's what's happening for the Avs right now. They just couldn't do anything right on a power play, and if they were cycling the puck around, getting some good shots on net, you'd be like, okay, they're just not breaking through. But they weren't even doing that. They were struggling to get the puck into the zone. They'd run the same drop back pass over and over and over and over again. And they started to switch things up. And they're too good for them to be horrible all season long on the power play. And it was just a matter of time. And this has gotten them going for sure. Yeah, it looks a lot better.
Another thing that helps this team succeed, very balanced scoring. I mean, so many guys are contributing to the offense right now.
Yeah, and that's something that they've had the past couple of years. That was the one knock on them a few years ago, is they were a top line team, and you couldn't deny that. But ever since really they got Kadri, they've started to add good pieces. So their second line is solid with Burakovsky, Kadri, and Val Nichushkin. And then on their bottom six, a guy by the name of Logan O'Connor has ascended. I mean, he started this season out on the fourth line, which everybody thought he was going to be there. And he kind of, people are tagging him as like the new Matt Calvert. Matt Calvert was that, that's what they call him, Matty Hustle, because he just gave 110% every single shift. That is Logan O'Connor. And he's got more scoring ability than Calvert did. So he has, through injuries and through the way he's played, he's on the top line now with Nathan McKinnon out. They've moved Mikko Rantanen over to the center spot, so he's running a wing on the top line. So he's helping out. Yeah, you got Burakovsky. JT Compher was playing exceptionally well until he got hurt, so he's out for another couple weeks. But yeah, they're just, you can't just zero in on the names like McKinnon and Rantanen and even Landeskog. Any shift that they have out there is capable of netting one. So yeah, they're a tough team to scheme against.
And then another great statistic. Tell me why you think this is. They're leading the league in shooting percentage right now.
I didn't even know that. Didn't even know. Wow. Doesn't surprise me really, but yeah, they're an offensive first team, and on top of that, their defensive guys are offensive players. And you look at guys like Cale Makar. He got off to a little bit of a slow start because he didn't have a preseason. He played no preseason games, so it took him a little while to get going. But he's a guy that just gets. I think he had 8 shots on goal the other day for a defenseman. Bo Byram is an offensive defenseman. And then, they're the two, and even Sam Girard, while he's not like a goal scorer, he is an exceptional passer. So he sets guys up to have, a good look at the net. They're just, like I said earlier, like they were too good of a team, and the talent finally is like starting to like break out of like these slumps altogether. Where they know how to shoot, they know how to score, and it's on the offensive end and the defensive end. So, like I said, they're tough.
And then the final piece of the puzzle defensively, Darcy Kemper, he's been pretty consistent over the last few games.
Same thing with him. Got off to a little bit of a rough start, and now you're starting to see, they gave up a good amount to get him in a first round pick, and a promising defenseman in Connor Timmins, but they needed to make that deal. And they were pretty comfortable with what they've seen in him playing for Arizona, that he could be that guy to replace who they lost in Grubauer. And same thing, like I said, took him a little while. And those first handful of games, Avs were giving up 35, 40 shots a game. And they don't do that. They have too good of a defense to give up that many shots on net. And now it's starting, like I said, because everybody's just getting comfortable, everybody's getting into the flow of the season. It's coming back down, and they're allowing in that 20 to 25 range. And I think, knowing how Jared Bednar is, he probably wants that even lower, because they had a good run last year. It was, I can't remember how many games in a row, but it was something teens in a row where they allowed less than 20 shots on goal a game. And so they know they're capable of doing even better than they are. But yeah, it just, for the Avs, it just seems like everything is starting to fall in line, like we kind of assumed it would. A lot of people were like, what's wrong with the Avs? And they have no panic in them whatsoever. They know that because all these guys are comfortable with each other. Yeah, there were some moves made in the offseason, but the meat of the team has stayed the same. So they know what they have, and they know the skill that they have, and they just had to get into the flow of a season. So, and you're seeing it now. So now 4 games coming up this week, and 1 Monday night against Ottawa. So again, like they're benefiting from this schedule. I'm not saying they're not, but hey, you got to win these games too. And this is Ottawa's first game back after their COVID cancellations. So they're benefiting from that again, and don't apologize for it. Go out and win the games. And then this just carries over into teams that didn't have any games canceled for COVID. So
exactly,
like I said, don't apologize for it.
Yeah, look, good teams have to take advantage of those opportunities.
Exactly. Yeah.
Tell our listeners where they can find you on social media and where they can find your podcast.
Yeah, anywhere that you follow or listen to your podcasts, you can find Locked On Avalanche there. On Twitter, the show page is LOPN_Avalanche, and it's Locked On Avalanche on Instagram. And the show does have a YouTube page as well. And you can also find me, like Gil said in the beginning, on this show, Locked On NHL, the Thursday edition that I do with Adam Denker from Locked On Lightning. We do the weekly power rankings, which we get beat up for unfairly.
They shoot the messenger. That's the
they
problem.
They do, but it's kind of fun. Like, I get a kick out of some of the comments. So, but yeah, that's where you can find me.
Chris, thanks so much for doing this.
Anytime, man. I love it.
All right. Does this sound familiar? You've got one device that lets you catch the game live, another that lets you stream your favorite shows. You're watching sports highlights on your phone, and you've got your neighbor's best friend's login for the good stuff. Well, I want to tell you about a simple way to get all that entertainment you love without the hassle, and a great way to finally get your TV together. It's called DirecTV Stream, and it brings your live TV and on-demand favorites together like never before, so you can watch your favorite sports, movies, and shows all in one place. That means no more juggling remotes and no need to buy another device ever again. And the best part, there's no annual contract. So get rid of the clutter and the confusion and get your TV together with DirecTV Stream. You can learn more at directtv.com. That's directtv.com. Compatible device required. Content varies by package.